Hi, this is Quinlan, and today I'm back on the coast. I am on the Michinoku Coastal Trail, that 1,000-kilometer coastal trail that stretches all the way from Aomori in the north down to Fukushima in the south. And I'm in one of my favorite parts of it right now. It's that area in the Sanriku Fuko National Park. Today, I'm walking a section that I've never walked before. I'm doing a little recon work for some guiding that I'm doing next month, and I'm also not alone. I have with me today another guide in this area, Katie.
Hi, nice to meet you.
And she is my senpai as far as this trail is concerned, and also as far as the ocean is concerned. She's been guiding and doing things in this area a long time, and so she's showing me this section of the trail today. So Katie, what can you tell me about this section of the trail?
So today we're in the Miyako area. We're walking along the Todogasaki route, which goes out to the lighthouse, which is the most eastern point on the main island of Japan.
That's right. I forgot to mention initially, we're going to hit the easternmost point in all of, well, in this Honshu, the main island of the Japanese archipelago. And you've done this a bunch of times before?
Yes, I've done this lots of times before in all different seasons.
Ever seen a bear?
Not in this course, but I've been told as we're walking past some of the fishermen, oh, there was a bear just there a few minutes ago, so I'm pretty close.
Near miss.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about the trail and things as we go. I just wanted to introduce everybody. Off we go. As you can hear, Katie has a bear bell turned on. Perhaps a wise decision, given that we're in bear country, and we don't want to have to test out my bear spray. The wind might be blowing in the wrong direction. The route that we're hiking today is about 12 kilometers total, and we'll see how much climbing and descending there is. There is a little bit so far. We've gone up and down some hills, but I'm guessing it's not as fierce as the bits that I've made in videos before in Tanohata, where you're going up and down ridiculous stairs. The route that we're doing today, we're starting at the Omoe Gyoko, or the Omoe fishing port, and we're going down to the Anigayoshi campground in the south. Of course, all along the trail, you find these little markers. You can see right here where it has the Michinoku Coastal Trail. In Japanese, it's the Shiokaze Trail, or the sort of salty breeze trail. Though it's a coastal trail, we're sometimes just walking through the forest as well. A lot of the areas on this northern coast have beautiful pine, as you can see sort of up ahead here. This is the Tanesashi Beach. No, it's not the Tanesashi Beach that you would find in Aomori along the first leg of the hike. It's a little bit different. The kanji for the second one is stab instead of difference. So you can see on the screen there, those two different kanji. Tanesashi in Aomori and Tanesashi here, just south of Miyako City. This hike so far has just been so pleasant. It's April 23rd, and so it's just cool enough that it doesn't feel hot. I think when I got out of the car, it was around somewhere between 10 and 13 degrees Celsius. So it's a little chilly, actually. I put on a fleece at first, but then it quickly becomes just right when you're walking. Look at that coast. Just beautiful. And of course, along the trail, you find lots of little blue tape with the logo for the coastal trail on it. This isolated little cove is just one of dozens you find on the coast of Iwate on the MCT. They are everywhere, and there are so many fun little inlets to find, discover, explore, wander about, scamper around, look for rocks, things that have washed up from the ocean. You gotta come check this out. Along the beach, you find all kinds of things, and always these big plastic sort of floater buoys, things that get used for fishing nets. I even knew a guy on the West Coast who collected the original glass ones of these floaters. The glass ones would have a rope webbing around them, sort of net that they would be part of. And they are actually pretty cool looking because they're all differing widths and things like that. But sadly now they just use the plastic ones. And while you're on the beach, if you have the extra room in your pack, you could always bring a trash bag and pick up a little bit of the garbage. These little rocky beaches aren't too bad. They're not totally coated in trash, but there are some plastic bottles here and there. And so it's good to take some with you, of course. Wow, already came 4.3 kilometers and have another 3.1 to Cape Todogasaki, but that's not the final destination today, going several kilometers after that. But just time passes like nothing when you're just looking at all these gorgeous views. I can't help but point out, but all of this right here, this plant right here, this is taranome, which is one of the more popular sought-after types of wild vegetables. It's grown out too far, but there's just tons of them. And I guess because it's a national park or because it's sort of isolated, no one's been picking them, because I can see just a dozen really delicious ones, but they've gone, they're too far grown out to eat now. Since I've been talking so much about Koshiabara, I wanted to show you up close what exactly I'm talking about. It is this right here. This is Koshiabara, upside down Koshiabara anyways. It's a really flexible tree, as you can see, and so you can bend it without hurting the tree. But it is a delicious, delicious plant, and were this not a national park, I would leave here with a big, heavy bag of it because it's so good. It's most famous as tempura, as a lot of these wild vegetables are. In addition to tempura, you can also stir fry it. I like to do something sort of meat rolls, nikumaki in Japanese, with it, sort of roll it up in really thinly sliced beef or pork, and just fry it with salt and pepper, and it's so good. I recently did a guided tour, a foraging tour rather, with a small group of Australians, and one of them was a chef in a Japanese restaurant in Australia. And so I wanted his opinion on describing the flavor of Koshiabara, because I'm not good at describing new flavors, because it's not bitter or, you know what I mean? There's not like a clear way to describe the flavor. And he just said it tastes like it smells, which sadly doesn't help much with people watching on the screen because I can't transmit the smell to you either. But at any rate, he agreed that it was a unique aroma and a unique flavor. So if you're in Japan, definitely try and find some Koshiabara if you're here in April or May.
Beware of falling rocks. How? I'm not sure, but there it is.
We're getting close to that easternmost point on the entire island of Honshu, and it is just a gorgeous trail. So one question that I get a lot from people who are reaching out to me for advice is, what part of the trail should they hike? Or where should they start? I mean, of course, to hike the whole 1,000 kilometers would take nearly 2 months, or something like 50 days maybe. And so if you just want to hike 4 or 5 days, what are some good ideas for the highlights? And I think that this hike that we're doing today is definitely among them. There are a lot of good resources online that have some suggested itineraries for those, and I'll of course link to those in the description. And you can do those self-guided or with a guide if you want to hear stories about the history of the region, what happened during the tsunami in 2011. Quite easy to do it. Well, not easy, but it's very doable to do it yourself if you get some help with forwarding your luggage and things like that. But I do think that the area between the beginning point in Hachinohe and probably just down to where we are now, well, even a little bit farther south, maybe the Yamada Peninsula, but that very northern part is the wildest area. The farther south you get, the more it becomes a cultural walk as opposed to a beautiful wilderness walk, because you get more fishing ports, more concrete, and less trail, so to speak. So the MCT is great the whole way for various reasons, but if you've only got 4 or 5 days and you're interested in being in the national park and seeing the trails, oh, look. It's a kamushka, a sero. It's just my luck that I kept trying to flip the camera around when I first saw that Japanese sero, or kamushka in Japanese, but the camera was jammed up and I couldn't flip the camera around, so I didn't get the shot until a little later. Japanese kamushka look kind of like goat deer, but they're actually bovine. They're more related to a cow than any other animal. They're a special natural monument. That is to say, they're a protected species. You're not allowed to hunt them. And they're very timid. Even though they're big and they've got horns, they never ever charge anyone. Never I've heard anyone being injured by one of them. So it's just all fun when you see them, though they can surprise you at first if you don't know what sort of large mammal you're looking at. So this is the easternmost spot?
This is actually the lighthouse. The easternmost spot is just a little bit further down this path here on top of the rocks.
Honshu Saitotan no Hi, the monument of the easternmost point on Honshu. And of course here's the Torogasaki lighthouse. Little thing, and there's the lighthouse. There are a lot of places on the coast of Iwate that have these sort of rocks that go right out into the ocean. So you've got walnut cliffs, a good 10-meter or so drop off between the rock where you're just walking or standing or maybe dangling your legs if you're brave, and crashing waves below. And it's, yeah, safe enough, but I love that it's unspoiled and they don't have a big iron fence or anything here. You can just, you know, be responsible for yourself. Don't be an idiot. Take a look. No guardrails. Nothing. Just the coast. Man, look at these rocks. Woo! So maybe that rock over there is actually the easternmost point on Japan's main island. Back into the woods. But a lot of this section, even if you say the forest, it's a relatively open area, as you can see. And just these big, gorgeous pine trees. I mean, look at this. I don't know if it's the case here, but in the northern parts of the trail up in Aomori, near Hachinohe, they say that all of these pine groves that you'll find along there were planted later because it used to be land where horses were pasturing. And it was just, you know, fields. And they later planted these beautiful red pines. Kohigashisawa, nice little stream here. Well, maybe there is earlier in the spring when the snow is melting, and then later in the year during the rainy season, and perhaps after typhoons have come through. This whole part of the coast, even shielded by trees, is just perfect. Yeah, look at the cliffs on the other side of there. Ooh. All these big rocks along the trail are just fantastic. This sign right here, you see all over the place, and the kanji are just like protected forest basically, and then with fish basically, or sakanatsuki. Would you say that's right? Yeah. With fish? Yeah, sakanatsuki, basically this is the fish and this often means with. And the reason why this is a protected forest isn't just because it's a national park, because this sign clearly predates when this was designated the Sanriku National Park here on the MCT. And the reason is because of how important the forests, these coastal forests, are for the nutrition, the nutrients rather, that go into the ocean for the fish below. There's a Japanese phrase which is, the forest is the sea's lover. Mori wa umi no koibito. And koibito is like, yeah, lover, boyfriend, girlfriend, something like that. So yeah, the name just shows how vital forests are in providing nutrients for all the marine life that you find just off the coast. To be honest, I, of course, could always read the sign and saw that it said protected forest, but I didn't realize that it was specifically because of the nutrients for the fish and the statement about the forest being the ocean's lover. That, credit where credit is due, is something that Katie just told me, and she is, like me, a basically outdoor guide here. And so if you want to have someone who speaks English well guide you in this area of Tohoku, and also the one person I would definitely recommend, even if there are others, she's the one who clearly is amazing. And we're trading information back and forth. It's, yeah, great that she is here. And we're getting there, not too much farther until our final destination on this short segment of the hike that we're doing today. So sadly, we're actually getting to the end of today's hike. We've just reached the destination. It was a short, just a little over 12K, I think. I'll check when we get here what it ended up being. But yeah, already here. So there's lots of ways to have a really fun half day, 3/4 a day. You could take longer if you just wanted to like relax and have a picnic on that easternmost point on the island, just play on the rocks, take a nap, whatever you want. But doesn't have to be. You could do it in an easy 4 or 5 hours too, depending on your pace. This little unassuming sign here shows that the 2011, the March 11th tsunami came up this high, and look how high up we are from the ocean here. Just to give you an idea of the magnitude, the massiveness of that tsunami, came all the way up here. And then somewhere around here, Katie was just telling me there is a buoy in a tree from that same tsunami. Let's see if we can find it. And so right up there, you see that buoy in the tree up there? So that buoy up there is a sort of more humble example of one of the artifacts of the tsunami, but all along the coast there are various things, parts of a seawall, and there's a hotel. There are a lot of things that they've intentionally preserved to show the ferocity of the tsunami, in the same way that the atomic bomb memorial, that dome in Hiroshima. Of all of those, Katie, what's one that you find the most powerful for you? Do you have a favorite among the various remnants of the tsunami?
Probably the one that's the most powerful for me is in Rikuzen Takata. There's in the middle of what used to be the main city center, there's this one building which used to be a packaging shop, like gift packaging shop, and it's left there by the owner. He's decided to preserve it as his personal memory because he survived on the roof of that building, which is a 3-story building, overnight with the tsunami water coming right up to his toes.
Wow, you did this up to his toes or up to his waist?
Up to his toes.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah. Yeah.
Up to his toes on top of the 3-story building. It's the way, and you can go there and you can hear his story. He'll tell it to you, and it's quite a moving story to hear.
Rikuzen Takata also has this really nice free museum that you can go and see too. What is the name of that?
The Tsunami Memorial.
The Tsunami, just like that, the Tsunami Memorial. And Rikuzen Takata is also really nice. So we made it back to the Anayoshi campground, which is where I'm right now. And because of where we started, it was actually just under 11 kilometers, though with a respectable ascent of around 760 or so meters. So yeah, a fair bit of climbing, though not too much. And I think most people would have hiked this in closer to 4.5 or 5 hours, but we did sort of walk at a pretty quick pace and our lunch was brief. So if you're going to do this, you could allow for more time. If you're interested in learning more about Katie and her work in adventure tourism in Iwate, I'm filming an interview with her, and so you can check that out. I'll put a link in the description as soon as it's up, and also a link to her Instagram account if she allows it. She takes a lot of great photos on the coast here in Iwate. As you know, both me and Katie both do guiding right here on the coast, and if you'd like to have your experience enriched in a number of ways, more than you would get just walking on your own, definitely hit me up or her up, and then more information in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the trails.